Well, everyone seemed to dig those Beast Soul figures that I showed you off out of China, so let me show you what else I dug up. Once again, pulling from the obscure Chinese form-changing toy lines, we have something that, like Beast Soul, I can't find an exact translation. I mean, it's not like Japan where romanization is common and a lot of people study and speak English. You just don't get that out of China. So Romanized titles for things just don't happen. The best I could find, as you probably judge by the title, is burst speed, and that's the one phrase that keeps coming up in all of my translation attempts. So once again, we are sticking with that until somebody gives me a more accurate title translation. And no, these are not Turning Me card. That's just the most popular line in this similar vein. Nope, this is a completely different series with a completely different vibe to it. Though yes, they do still do the similar tricks that I've shown off this week. So as we can see, a very different look here, going with a lot of translucent plastic across all of them, and only one vehicle this time, because of course these are completely independent from anything else, and they all work just on their lonesome. So we're going to look at them one at a time, starting with this beefy little tank. I do like the look of this thing. It's big and chunky, and it looks like it could bulldoze just about anything. It's one of those tanks that has a bunch of clutter in the front, kind of titanium Megatron-ish, but that's unavoidable in the case of this particular toy line. Now, aside from just a lot of translucent yellow and black solid plastic, you're going to see a lot of stickering details with this olive green color. It's a weird color mix between the amber plastic and the green, but it almost works. I'm almost into it. Not a lot of detail, molding-wise. Translucent plastic does have a way of flushing details out here and there, but we have some things going on, so it's not like a completely barren toy or anything. It works. So there is also these, as you've probably noticed by now, just like the Beast Soul figures, there is a game to be played with these. Unfortunately, I'm not quite sure how this one works. I don't know why Lightning plus 20 when it comes to this tank. I've not been able to find an explanation. So there is a game to be played, like there is for most of these spring-loaded transforming toys. So here's the trick. How do we transform these? Well, this time we're going to rely on one of these little discs. Now, the idea behind these is that this little rubber base on the bottom that holds it firmly in place, you just drive it straight in. You'll notice on the front, there's a few switches buried underneath the bumper, and there is this big groove that can fit that particular ring, or the particular disc. Inside the disc, there is a ring of metal. That's the magnet trick. It pulls the disc into there, make sure it hits everything and locks into place, and then all of the magic happens. Now, here's the difficult part. Here's the fun part for me. This kind of relies on forward motion. You can hockey puck it into the slot, but it's a little bit difficult to do, and I will try to spare you that. So instead, we're going to try and get this captured properly on camera. So, starting with the tank, let's see if this actually works. Well, it actually stayed in frame. I'm fairly surprised by that. So, yep, rather than just springing up onto its legs, full backflip for style, and definitely a different transformation than what we saw the last time. But again, lots of very fast, very powerful springs to create a very cool visual effect. Our tank has become a very menacing T-Rex, where all of that translucent plastic now springs out from the base of black plastic. Very cool. It's a very Truckosaurus thing, if anyone is old enough to remember what a Truckosaurus is. I do like this. It's a really cool effect, and very reliable. I have not had one of these things fail on me yet. You'll notice the disc is completely entrapped by this big clamshell of plastic. The first thing it does is clamps over this to make sure that it holds that in place during the entire backflip. And the end result is a pretty well-formed mechanical T-Rex. Worked the shapes of the tank pretty well in order to get things like the thighs and the tiny little arms, and there is the big head up front, teeth and all. Looks really good, works really well. Do definitely like it, and the barrel becoming the tail is a pretty clever piece of engineering. Now, it does create this pretty big base for him, but at the same time does ensure that he lands pretty solidly on his feet. And again, like I said, I haven't had one of these fail that jump on me yet. So that is the tank. So who do we go with next? I think the ambulance is due next. Now, this one is a little bit more of the colors you would expect out of that particular vehicle. Mostly white, but we have this very glittery, translucent teal going throughout too, which is kind of cool. It's a very medicine color as far as creating like a fantasy ambulance goes. And of course, ambulance. Or I'm sorry, ambulance. It's a Chinese toy. I'm just surprised they even tried. Now this one itself, much blockier, much more solid. We got more solid plastic going on, whereas the original was almost completely translucent. You also notice there's no spring clip that's going to actually hold on. So this one's just going to hold on to its disc for dear life and hope it does not let go. But at the same time, same toy line, so it's definitely going off. It's definitely going off the same way. You'll also see a symbol on the side for, I assume, is a wind element. I'm not getting any kind of stats or numbers off of this one, but it is at least something. So, that out of the way. Let's see. Place your bets. What's it going to turn into this time? We get the T-Rex out of the way so we can get a clear shot. We're going to go with this silver disc, which doesn't really have any bearing. The discs are exactly the same pretty much, so there really isn't any point to which one works and which one you use. So, 1, 2, 3. Nice. I'm glad they're not choosing now to fail on me, because I've been talking these things up so much. So we've flipped up into a full-blown Pegasus, our second Pegasus of these Chinese toys. Looking quite good. Like, it's a really good proportion for something that was as bulky and blocky as the ambulance. Works really well. I really like this. And for some reason, an ambulance turning into a Pegasus almost makes sense to me. I kind of dig it. So, definitely works out for me. Most of the body done up in the white plastic, and then that translucent teal for the legs, the neck, and the wings. A lot more of the more mystical details included for those parts, which works. Even has the tail. Did not skimp on the detail on that one. This one, because the T-Rex just hanging off the back of the big base, kind of makes it a little bit strangely proportioned when transformed. This works a little bit better since it seems to carry that size from front to back pretty well. All in all, I do really dig this. This time I'll point out is that when you're dealing with these things, now looking at these, I would almost be able to see the Beast Soul figures. I would see those being able to be released in the US if only there was a market for it, you know. And if only the cartoon wasn't poorly animated. I have seen the cartoon. This one in particular, this I don't think would come to the US, in particular because in order to accomplish the backflip, you've got this spring bar on the base. And if I just flip it just by itself, that's loud. I apologize to the headphone users out there. That's a really loud snap. This is basically a mouse trap. You even have that little Tampa-wrapped symbol on the bottom. Please do not put finger there, because it do hurt. You don't want to put your finger there when it's unleashed. That spring alone, in order to accomplish the backflip so reliably, extremely powerful. And you really would not want to, you wouldn't want to have a kid's finger stuck there accidentally. So I can definitely see why these in particular would not make it over to the US in any way, shape, or form. So, that out of the way, we're going to take a look at the last one I have. Now, the eBay listing I got these off of identified this one as Jungle Lurker. And given what it turns into, I could actually see that being an accurate name. But then again, it also listed a card that turned into a bird as Beyblade Dragon. So I'm willing to bet that's not the actual name. Again, we have the little wind symbol on the side, but this time we have a plus 20. So I guess he's 20 points better than the Pegasus back there? I don't know, I assume. This one, on the other, definitely a different design from the others. We have this big, heavy military truck with 2 large missiles and or lasers on the top. Definitely dig this vehicle. It's a big brute of a battle machine, and I love it. It also helps that it's 2 separate tones of translucent green plastic and some solid green all over. Really like it. Really like it. Again, just like the Scorpion from Beast Soul, this is the one that convinced me to buy the entire, not the entire toy line, because this one's actually a much larger toy line, but this one in particular made me want to search these out. We'll see once we get it transformed. But again, I do really like this. I like the stickering detail. It kind of blends in a lot better than say the ones on the T-Rex. It works, though these stickers are kind of a pain to put in because they are very cheap and they're very small. Alright, so we get his disc in. It's bright green, because of course it is. And this will be our last one for the review. 1, 2, 3. Awesome. Absolutely love it. Of course, it's me and Mantises again. If you know my Scyther obsession, you know I dig me some Mantis. Okay, so looking at him now, very much the Robo Mantis that I dig. You could definitely see where the Jungle Lurker comes from now. This thing looks like it just fall from the treetops and take off whatever limb it really wants to. Again, we've got the big claw coming out to hold on to the disc during the flip, but we also have a beast mode that actually relies a lot more on the base being all the way underneath it. I definitely think this one overall looks the best in that form, just because the base itself seems like it serves a purpose and is an intentional inclusion and not just a leftover from the vehicle mode. You see the hike of the big back legs. You see the cannons have unfurled into the big sickle arms of the Mantis. Love the head with the segmented eye stickers. They got everything, man, and man, it looks so wicked. Absolutely love this one. Now, the toy line themselves is pretty varied. You've got all different kinds. These are some of the larger ones. There are also smaller ones. The aforementioned car that turns into a bird, it literally just kind of splits the 2 car halves into the bird's wings. It's extremely simplistic. Still accomplishes the flip and all that, but the toy itself, far more simple. And many of them are like that, but there are a few like these that are a little bit beefier, a little bit more fully fleshed out and realized. You also get different accessories for this particular line. Aside from the larger and smaller ones, as I've described, you also get things like battle ramps, where the idea is to take 2 of the cars, send them up 2 sides of the ramp, and whoever gets the disc in the middle first wins. You know, and everything comes crashing down because there isn't room for all of them to transform on top of the ramps. But you do have a more fully fleshed out toy line than you do with, say, the Beast Soul figures, which only consists of 7 toys. There's a lot more here, and they're a little bit easier to find out. Burst Speed should help you find them on eBay. That's where I got these. And these are the only ones I have, so if we do a part 2, it's only going to be after I can swing for a couple more of these. But again, they are very fascinating, very cool flip-changing, very cool automorph things that we just don't get in the US, because in order to make it that reliable, you have to be a little bit illegal by US toy standards. But if you're willing to go out of your way for them, they are an extremely cool desk toy, and as I've learned, Something that can keep your young nephews very distracted so they don't go into the rest of your toy collection. They work. They work really, really well.